This presentation will cover how to complete the outcome measures template that must be included with the application. The outcome measures were developed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Agricultural Marketing Services, and the Office of Management and Budget to standardize performance indicators that apply to the SCBGP. The reason for this is to compile data across all states, making it easier to see the effect the program has on the specialty crop industry, which in turn strengthens the need for continued funding. Please note that because these performance indicators were developed to provide a standardized measure of the program results, outcome measures and associated indicators and sub-indicators cannot be altered, amended, or replaced. This means that when completing the outcome measures template, you should only enter the information requested and provide responses in the format described in the template. Changes, even to make a clarification, should never be made to the outcome measures text as written. Outcome measures are how the success of your project will be assessed and therefore are the primary goal of the SCBGP. In other words, when you select an outcome measure or measures, you are indicating what your project will achieve within the grant duration. The result of all outcome measures is the enhanced competitiveness of specialty crops. Each outcome measure has indicators and in some cases sub-indicators associated with it. These indicators will be the evidence that shows your project has increased the competitiveness of the specialty crop industry. They outline specific performance data that need to be collected and reported for the project. Reporting on your selected outcome measures is one of the ways you'll demonstrate the success of the project. To help in selecting an appropriate outcome measure for your project, CDFA provides an outcome measures supplement that lists the outcome measures, indicators, and sub-indicators, along with some additional explanation. A link to the supplement can be found in the request for proposals or RFP. And to learn more about each outcome measure, you will need to review the outcome measures template, the RFP, and the supplement. We won't be going into detail on the content of each outcome measure in the presentation today. To complete the outcome measures template, first download the template to your computer from the SCBGP website, and a link to the template is also available in the RFP. Complete the template and email the template to grants@cdfa.ca.gov with the application and budget template. Please note that the outcome measures template must not be modified and should not be converted to any other file type, such as a PDF. There are a total of 8 outcome measures. And this is what the template looks like. And as mentioned, each outcome measure has one or more indicators and in some cases sub-indicators associated with it. When preparing a proposal, at least one outcome measure and an associated indicator and sub-indicator, if applicable, must be selected. To complete the template, check the boxes next to the outcome measure and indicator selected, and then fill in the value or values for that indicator, and if applicable, sub-indicator. Note that only whole numbers or dollar amounts should be entered when completing the form as indicated. Do not enter percentages, fractions, or decimals. And outcome measures, indicators, and sub-indicators that are not selected should be left blank. And also, please note that at the top of the form, there's a PIN field that should also be left blank. It is not required for this particular solicitation. So here are a few key points to keep in mind when selecting outcome measures. The number of outcome or indicators selected is not a factor in scoring the proposal. Selecting more outcome measures does not mean your project will be viewed more favorably. Applicants that are awarded grant funds are required to report on all outcomes and indicators identified, so only identify the outcomes your organization will have the capability to monitor and report on. All numerical estimates provided should be reasonable. We understand that the values indicated for selected outcome measures are projections. However, it is important to provide an estimate that is realistic. And all outcome measures, indicators, and sub-indicators selected must be achievable within the grant duration, which is 3 years. It's important to mention that outcome measure 1 must be selected for all projects that focus efforts to sell, advertise, promote, market, and generate publicity, attract new customers, or raise awareness for specialty crops or a specialty crop venue. In addition, for outcome measure 1, the specific measure must be expressed as a dollar value and percentage increase of sales as a result of the marketing and/or promotion activities. It is necessary to measure actual sales figures resulting from marketing efforts against an established baseline to evidence an increase in sales. And for projects that don't already have a baseline of sales in dollars, one of the objectives of the project must be to determine a baseline during the grant period. For outcome measure 4, indicator 2, sub-indicator A should measure adoption of the recommended practices as a result of project activities. Please note this does not mean indicating the intention to adopt the recommended practices, but rather the outcome measure requires the measure of adoption or implementation of the recommended practices. And outcome measure 5, indicator 2, should measure the number of innovations adopted. And again, please note that this does not mean indicating the intention to adopt innovations, but rather the outcome measure requires the measure of the number of innovations actually adopted or implemented. And lastly, for outcome measure 8, the difference between jobs and careers is that jobs are the net gain of paid employment, where new businesses created or adopted can indicate new careers. The beginning farmer is an individual or entity that has not operated a farm or ranch for more than 10 years and substantially participates in the operation. And a socially disadvantaged farmer is a farmer who is a member of a socially disadvantaged group. A socially disadvantaged group is a group whose members have been subject to discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, age, disability, and where applicable, sex, marital status, familial status, parental status, religion, sexual orientation, genetic information, political beliefs, reprisal, or because all or a part of an individual's income is derived from any public assistance program. For each outcome measure and indicator selected, a description of the data collection methods that will be used to report on the progress of the outcome measure must be provided. This is where you will provide details about the activities the project will conduct to collect data to measure and track the progress towards achieving the indicator or sub-indicator. This section should not include information regarding how work plan objectives or other aspects of the project will be measured or monitored that are not related to the outcome measures. We tend to see information about research methods for project activities or work plan objectives in this section, but that type of information should not be included. Should a grant be awarded, recipients will be required to report on the selected outcome measures separately from the work plan objectives. The data collection box in the outcome measures template should describe the plan for collecting data and monitoring the selected outcome measures only. In addition, each outcome measure must have a complete response for the data collection methods. Do not include comments that refer to other sections of the proposal, such as, for example, as described in a prior outcome measure. Here's an example of a completed outcome measure template. In this case, outcome measure 1, indicator 1 has been selected. Also note that there have not been any changes made to the template other than providing the information requested. In other words, where the template indicates enter number, only whole numbers and dollar amounts have been entered, and any additional text has only been included in the description of data collection methods box, since the outcome measures, indicators, and sub-indicators cannot be altered, amended, or replaced. Before emailing the completed template into CDFA, please double check that you have entered the required values and descriptions for all selected outcome measures. And although the template does not have a page limitation, content provided in the description box should be appropriate, necessary, and responsive to the intended purpose of the template.